Anchorage, Alaska, the location of a summit between President Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin. It's taking place at the Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, by the way. That is a place that was crucial to the U.S. efforts to counter the then Soviet Union during the Cold War. Ironic that it's taking place there. But the two men met earlier this afternoon for a face-to-face talk and a joint conference that is scheduled to take place later. So noticeably absent in all of this, of course, is Ukrainian President Zelensky, who was not invited to this meeting. So what might be the next steps that we will see in this historic meeting? Well, here now to discuss this is Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. She's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, as well as the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and the Space Technology Committee as well, Science, Space, and Technology. She's also the founder of the Friends of Judea and Samaria Caucus, and we appreciate that. She represents the 24th Congressional District of the Great Empire State. Congresswoman Tenney, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to see you again.
Great to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a long time. All right, so let's just jump into this. Vladimir Putin, can he be trusted, do you think, to be an honest broker in these talks?
Absolutely not. I think that Trump knows that, and I think the people working with Trump on setting up this meeting. But it is an attempt by President Trump, which is extremely, audacious, you might say. I mean, he's very hopeful that this will at least begin the process of getting Putin kind of finding out. I think Trump indicated a number of times where Putin is, kind of to gauge him. I think Trump likes face-to-face meetings to really get a feel, to see where his weaknesses are and his strengths are, his body language. Trump is an expert at that. He's got very good intuitive sensitivity. So I think right now, I mean, that's really what he's trying to do is assess Putin. I know Putin has taken on a lot of incoming. They have over 400,000 Russians have been killed. The economy is struggling, and Putin is, taken over some parts of Ukraine. But this is essential, and we look at it differently. I mean, President Trump wants to stop the killing. He wants to save lives. He's compassionate, cares about the human loss. I mean, of course, Russia doesn't care about that, especially a former KGB agent. Vladimir Putin cares about power. And projecting strength around the world stage, even though they have a very small economy. He's been very successful at manipulating democracies around the world, including Europe, and in fact, the Democrats in the United States, with the climate change agenda and talking everyone into abandoning their natural gas exploration, their oil exploration, and things that would, be a threat to Russia's economic strength. And now President Trump has brought the opposite in. He's talking about unleashing American energy, bringing back the dominance that we need, making our European allies bring more money to the table to defend this European's threat, through Ukraine, the largest country in Europe. So a lot of really interesting things happening here, and it affects the geopolitical landscape as well. So I find it really fascinating. Will be interesting to see where this goes next. I know we're not done yet. Trump is still behind the doors. I think they're just coming out. Maybe there'll be a couple interviews, and we'll see what President Trump has to say and what he can report on. I know that's a lot, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah, that is a lot, and there is a lot going on, and I appreciate that. Do you have a sense of what you kind of expect to come out of this, or are you just all in a wait-and-see mode?
I think Trump is going to have a lot to say about where he is. Maybe he won't reveal so much. I know he's doing some interviews with media, but I think he's going to get a feel of whether Putin is in a position where he feels like he needs to come up with some kind of deal. He needs to come up with a way to stop the hemorrhaging that Russia is experiencing, potentially. And I think that's where Trump's trying to assess that. And then that's why I think he's meeting with Putin individually, and that's why he'll eventually, if it gets to that point, and the talks move forward, there will ultimately be a meeting with President Trump and Zelensky. So and Putin, obviously, but I think that right now this is the first step into what could be a longer process. Obviously, Trump likes to get things done quickly, but I think this is very complicated. Remember, he ran and said, "I can have this war over in 24 hours. And now he's admitted on many occasions that this is going to be a little more complicated, a little more difficult, because Vladimir Putin is a little bit different animal than dealing with other leaders in other parts of the world.
Yep, absolutely. Congresswoman Tenney, if I can shift gears to another part of the world with you, I know you have been just a stalwart supporter of Israel. And of course, they are expanding housing right now in Judea and Samaria as part of their push to exert their rightful sovereignty in the region there. And our State Department recently confirmed that this expansion of housing is certainly in line with the Trump administration's goals. Your thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, I think this is very large. I was just in Israel for 10 days, and as you cited at the top of the show, I started the Judea and Samaria caucus, and looking for partners all around the world to start telling the truth, really, about what's going on in Israel. There's so many lies being told by so many media entities. People don't know the truth. They don't understand, the real nature of the war that Israel is fighting for the preservation of Western civilization. Actually, they're fighting in that front as the only democracy in the entire Middle East to try to actually provide democratic principles to everyone in Israel, regardless of your race, regardless of your religion. And I think it's really interesting. But there is a movement, and I think that's why this E1, this section of Jerusalem, and continuing with building there, sets a mark that says Jerusalem is the capital of the Jewish state. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and it's going to remain that way. It should not be divided. And I think this is what this latest development is coming out of Israel. And I think it's important that we continue to recognize the area of Judea and Samaria. I also put a bill in Congress that would require the United States to list in any of its official documents the area of Judea and Samaria as Judea and Samaria, not the pejorative West Bank, because we want to recognize this as the Jewish homeland. And I'll tell you something really interesting that happened to me. I was over in Israel, and this has been this idea has been floating around. I met with a number of Arab sheikhs in the region of Judea and Samaria, and these so-called within the Green Line, and they were very adamant about their interest in working with the state of Israel, their lack of trust and their interest in dissolving the Palestinian Authority and working with the state of Israel in a sort of quasi Emirates type of model where the sheikhs can have their Emirates model within the state of Israel, with Israel providing security and them having sort of a quasi-sovereignty, and getting rid of what they defined as the corrupt Palestinian Authority, which is preventing them from seeking and attaining any kind of prosperity for the people where they live. They want to live in harmony with their Jewish neighbors. They want to be able to get involved in businesses. They want to grow jobs. They want to bring industry into this whole region in Hebron and Judea and Samaria. Really fascinating, novel idea that we are going to be talking about, obviously, with President Trump and his team. And this could actually be, in a strange way, it could be a solution to what this, has been plaguing Israel, for decades and decades and decades, with no solution, and the constant harangue of a two-state solution, which we know is impossible in a situation where Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, and all these other, Iran-backed proxies are making it impossible to have any kind of peace in the Middle East and any kind of hope for a two-state solution. Really interesting developments that are happening right now in Israel. Really novel concepts, and we're just going to see where this goes. But this could be the actually peaceful solution to the future.
Wow, so much happening around the world, and then you have some of our allies now going to recognize a Palestinian state. I mean, there's so many complicated issues in all of this, and it's something we'll certainly be watching. I want to thank you so much, Congresswoman Tenney, for joining us today on Washington Watch. We appreciate it a great deal.
Thank you so much, and great to see you, and God bless.